Alright, guys, welcome to
Love's
episode
labor
3
jeopardized.
Love's Labor Jeopardized.
Priority message from Starfleet.
On screen, Lieutenant.
Let's see what's going on.
A raid across the Romulan neutral zone has placed Starfleet Research Station ARC-7 in jeopardy. Proceed immediately to ARC-7 and determine the status of the station. Good luck, Jim.
Alright, we got our new mission. I was originally aiming to upload once a week, but it's my day off and the wife's at work, so figured I'd do a second episode. Well, now we know where we're going. Let's do a little bit of research. It is going to be ARC-7?
ARC-7, a highly sophisticated arcology project looking into the origins of life in the universe. The project is being led by Dr. Carol Marcus, who, along with a crew of 17 members, is dedicated to unlocking the mystery of life. Further information is classified.
You used to hear a lot about arcology. You don't really hear about that anymore, but that used to be a big thing in like the philosophy of urban planning back in the 80s and 90s, like self-contained single unit cities that produced all their food and industry and whatnot. I've always been fascinated by that sort of how the past thought the future was going to be. It's one of the reasons why I love Art Deco architecture. It just has this very 1930s, 1920s vision of the future vibe about it that I always thought was pretty cool. And then Dr. Carol Marcus, she shows up again in Star Trek 2. So let's do a little bit more research on her.
Marcus Carroll, the current chief of research on Station ARC-7. Carol Marcus is an expert in molecular biology, bioprotein development, cell mutation science, and radiation science. Dr. Marcus has been offered many posts in the Federation, but refuses to be involved in any project which may have a direct military application.
Alright, so she doesn't like the military, she doesn't like war, but very, very smart. And then they mentioned the Romulan neutral zone, so let's look up Romulans for the first time.
A race descended from Vulcan stock, but one that did not reject aggression as the Vulcans did. On a sensor, the two races appear very similar. Their individuals are known for being more passionate and emotional than their Vulcan counterparts. They currently use ships of Klingon design, suggesting to some the Klingons are maintaining them as a client state to antagonize the Federation in a move that circumvents the Organian peace treaty.
The using Klingon ships is something that happened in TOS as well. And even kind of the reverse happened in the movies. The Bird of Prey was originally supposed to be a Romulan ship. You can see that with the bird motif. But the fan explanation has always been that there was some sort of alliance and technology sharing between the Klingons and the Romulans. The Romulans got Klingon ships, the Klingons got cloaking devices. Okay, so if we pull up our map here, we'll see that we're going to ARC-7, that is 3 is up there. So if we go back to the game here, pull up our navigation. It was this one, I believe.
We have arrived at ARC-7. Romulan ship decloaking, Captain.
Message from the Romulan ship, sir.
Okay, they want to talk to us.
Treachery. We are aware of Federation plans. Prepare to die.
What Federation plans? Alright, well, obviously we got to do something about this.
They're arming weapons, Captain.
Raising shields.
Arming weapons.
Target analysis odd.
So you turn faster when you're going slower, but you're harder to hit when you're going faster. That's kind of the trade-off to this. Since the Romulan ship cloaks, we have to kind of wait for it to show back up. So we'll be going quite fast as we cruise. There we go. Slow on down and try and bring them into firing range. we got him pretty good.
Target analysis off.
See where we're hurt, a little bit in the shields.
Aye, sir.
Target analysis off.
Now we wait for them to come around again. There they are.
Target analysis off.
Okay, so one of our torpedo launchers has been hurt. That's pretty important to get back on, because that is our biggest damage dealer by far. Phasers are not nearly as powerful as the photons are. I lost him right before the decloaked. Okay, our torpedo launcher is repaired.
Captain.
Let's send him after the
Aye,
shields.
sir.
Go back to target analysis. There they are. Hopefully we should finish them off this time. We got them pretty good. In fact, they killed themselves. Okay.
Be captured, Captain.
Resuming course to Arc 7, Captain.
And there's the station with another Romulan warbird up there.
There is an auto beacon broadcasting from the station.
Warning, warning. As per UFP Regulation 342-1888564.3, Paragraph 3, this base is currently under a Class 3 biohazard alert. All personnel are ordered to stay away from this base unless they are part of a biohazard response team.
Okay, so biohazard apparently. Spock, what do you have to say about this?
Captain, sensors indicate a breathable atmosphere in the space station. It seems that whatever ARC-7's intentions, it managed to create a biohazard that is deadly to Romulans. 17 humans and 10 Romulans are on the station. The humans are all in perfect health, so it seems we can beam over without any fear of contamination.
I mean, Kirk and McCoy maybe, but Spock, we just learned how you're pretty much a Romulan.
Message from Arc 7, sir.
See if we can talk to
I am
them.
Centurion Ardea Preax of the Romulan Empire. We have discovered your genocide factory here and have summoned help to destroy it. Our lives will not be sacrificed in vain.
Genocide factory. That certainly does not seem like Dr. Marcus.
Thorn shields, Captain.
Disarming weapons.
Let's maybe head over there and check them out.
Mr. Scott, you have the con.
Okay, I am gonna
Save
lay down
movie.
a save here. Just because we're gonna learn some things. Okay, so now that we got that save down, we're gonna do some things. We're gonna do our usual look around here.
This computer terminal is linked into the station's main computer. It is currently running an open file of log programs.
Okay, so maybe we can figure out what's going on through those.
A Romulan bird of prey hovers menacingly on the view screen.
Certainly does.
This is a heavily secured door leading to another section of the station. Its access code has been breached. This is a standard door leading to another room on this deck.
Okay, and then on this mission, the tricorder is pretty much worthless, but we're gonna go around.
The main computer banks of the ARC-7. It looks like someone has recently been rummaging through the main databanks. Nothing to report, Captain. Nothing to report, Captain.
Okay, so let's go ahead and use Spock on the computer.
Dr. Marcus Log. Supplemental. Continued testing of the Ouroboros virus confirms its potential harmful effects on Romulan Vulcan humanoids. As soon as the spill has been cleaned up, We will sterilize both labs and purge the circulation system to make sure no traces of the virus will remain viable. Then all research files must be erased. We must leave no chance that this terrible accident will ever be repeated.
So this sounds much more like the Dr. Marcus we read about.
Doctor, you may be interested in the medical data file appended to the log.
You know what? I bet you the doctor would be interested in that. Let's have McCoy use the computer.
Now that's interesting. There's more here. All of Dr. Marcus' research data on the Ouroboros virus. Let me see. Virus growth patterns. Pneumococcal mimic affecting Romulo-Vulcan genotype. Alveoli involvement in... Boy, Jim, this bug works fast.
And it sounds like Spock has it.
Is this really the time to catch up on your reading, Doctor?
Now listen here, you pointy-eared...
Gentlemen, I think we have more pressing problems.
Yeah.
Jim, there is an appended medical database online. Also, it would be useful for me to experiment on how the virus grows in the presence of different gases. I'm sure the station has the necessary equipment.
So there's a database there. Let's see if I use him again, he can get at it.
Please select subject file. Ouroboros virus.
Well, let's start by learning about the virus.
Ouroboros virus. Atypical growth patterns for L-type virus. Opportunistic pneumococcal mimic affecting Romulo-Vulcan genotype. Etiology: contact or airborne vector with alveoli microcollapse. Involvement immediately upon exposure. Tissue dehydration follows pneumal flooding. Mortality: 0.6 in 1.0 stardates. 1.0 within 2.0 stardates treatment, none. Named for the mythic world snake that swallows its own tail.
So there are two things we can pick up from this. One is Spock does not have long. He is likely to die within one stardate and definitely going to die within two. But then also, note here, tissue dehydration is caused by this disease. So that's going to be important later.
Please select subject file. Ouroboros TLTDH gas.
Let's learn about TLTDH.
TLTDH gas. The chemical compound. Tantalum, bilithium, phthalo, dihydroxide. Colorless, odorless, non-flammable, gaseous at 1 atm, and temperatures within a human norm. Early anesthetic among Vulcans and Romulans, in whom it produces laughter, feelings of exhilaration, euphoria, sometimes leading to unconsciousness. In post-industrial pre-spaceflight era, a social problem evolved when crude TLTDH became popular to cook up from non-conductive tantalithial compounds commonly used as electrical insulation.
Okay, and again, there's things to learn from this. It is a gas that will knock out Romulans and Vulcans. That's probably going to be useful to us. And we can cook up TLDH from electrical insulation. Probably going to be useful as well.
Please select subject Ouroboros TL nitrous oxide.
Nitrous oxide, good old laughing gas.
Nitrous oxide, a colorless non-flammable compound, N2O, gaseous at 1 atm, and temperatures within the human norm. Early anesthetic among humans, in whom it produces laughter, feelings of exhilaration, euphoria, sometimes leading to unconsciousness.
So this is just the human equivalent, but since it's Romulans taking over the station and Romulans and Vulcans that can get sick, I don't think we'll need this.
Please select subject file. Ouroboros T nitrous ammonia. Ammonia, a colorless pungent compound, NH3, a common byproduct of metabolism in carbon-based life forms. Liquid or gaseous at 1 atm. Compounds widely used in agricultural, medical, and industrial applications.
Yeah, if you have a household cleaner, it probably has ammonia in it.
Please select subject Ouroboros TLT nitrous oxide ammonia dihydrogen oxide.
This one's just water.
Dihydrogen oxide, a colorless, tasteless, non-flammable compound, H2O. Water, liquid, solid, or gaseous at 1 atm. Temperature scales defined in most humanoid cultures by state shift of pure water.
This is true. In both metric and Fahrenheit, it's defined as in relation to water. In metric Celsius, it's 0 is the temperature that water freezes at, 100 is the temperature water boils at. In Fahrenheit, it's a little bit more complicated. It's the level of expansion in copper tubes that water does under different temperature regimes. It's weird, but we've had it for, hundreds of years, so we just don't really see a point in changing it.
Please select subject file. Ouroboros TL nitrous ammonia dihydrogen oxide. Exit database.
Well, that was everything. Why don't we have McCoy take a look at
The
Spock
virus
here?
affects the Romulan Vulcan genotype, Jim.
Yep. He's telling me Spock's sick. Let's go out here. Okay, there's a lot of things here. Let's take a look at all of them.
This is a large refrigeration unit. This device is used for the rapid reproduction of virus cultures in the presence of suspected anti-agents.
Okay.
This is a distillator used to isolate specific compounds from raw material. A device to accelerate neutrinos. Not much good for anything else. This is a large engineering safety door with heavy shielding. Its entry codes seem to be breached.
Pretty much all the entry codes seem to have been breached.
This is an access ladder. It appears to lead to the next deck below.
Okay. And then, again, tricorders are pretty worthless in this mission, but let's go through and tricorder everything.
There are multiple culture samples of the virus within the freezer, Captain.
Ooh, okay.
A Crygelian 2 basic compound distillator. Excellent piece of equipment for reducing complex materials to their basic compounds.
Probably something we'll need.
A Hawking neutrino accelerator. It is one of the finest in production today.
Okay.
Nothing to report, Captain. Nothing to report, Captain.
All right. Let's try opening this up.
This refrigerator has a number of specimen dishes inside.
All right. You guys want to live dangerously? Why don't we grab some virus here?
You take the Ouroboros virus culture.
Then, why don't we walk over... Maybe we can use this ladder here. Nope. I guess I missed the ladder, but we can click over here. Take a look at our looky-loos. There's like something down there.
This is an engineering access panel allowing repairs to be made to the interior wiring in the equipment.
The wiring, huh? Bet you that's important.
Turbines of a Cochrane 500 class fusion drive, manufactured over a century ago on Alpha Centauri.
This brings up an interesting point in the lore. In TOS, Zephram Cochrane was from Alpha Centauri, but he's also the first Cuban to achieve warp flight. Later, Star Trek retconned him into being from Montana on Earth, and the book series that came later kind of resolved this by having him retire to Alpha Centauri.
I didn't realize that they use these old fusion reactors anymore.
Actually, Doctor, as Mr. Scott would tell you, the Cochrane 500 is renowned for its reliability and perfectly suited for a station of this size.
Now, this is also an interesting point. The Federation absolutely has the backbone of its energy provided by fusion. That is consistently what we see. They do put out solar panels, but that's not going to kind of generate the energy that we're talking about on the scales we're talking about. And antimatter, which powers their warp engines, is not an energy source. It is an energy storage medium, like a battery. There is no free antimatter. You can't go collect antimatter. You can't drill for antimatter or whatever. You have to create antimatter by dumping enormous amounts of energy into creating it. Energy that you'd be making through fusion like this. So, yeah, Spock is 100% right. These are gonna be everywhere. Not maybe this specific model, but this sort of thing.
Hey, this thing's real old, isn't it?
Yeah. I really would not mind killing the red shirt in this mission.
This is the engineering center for the ARC-7 space station. It's a standard adjustable metric socket wrench. This is a screen and filter for the ventilation shaft. This is a service access panel permitting used up or worn materials to be replaced.
Okay, and then again, I know it's pretty worthless, but let's go through.
The fusion reactor is functioning at peak efficiency. There is no need to tamper with its current operation.
So Spock is basically telling us to stay away from that.
Nothing to report, Captain. Nothing to report, Captain. Nothing to report, Captain.
Okay. Well, why don't we go ahead and grab that.
You pick up a large wrench.
And then let's use this.
The panel opens. You see a gas
Spock
tank labeled
freaked out for a
N2
second.
with its feed lines running deeper into the wall.
N2. I think we can use that to make some stuff.
The tank is large and heavy with its feed lines firmly attached.
Well, I think we've got something that can solve those feed lines.
Nothing happens.
Oops. Gotta be more precise in my clicking.
The tank detaches easily.
I guess this made it easier to replace the tank every so often, eh, Captain?
You are just a fountain of knowledge, Redshirt. Are we able to take that tank?
The tank is too heavy to move by muscle alone.
Not quite yet. What about
You
using
need
this thing?
something to pry this open.
Well, it just so happens I think we have something to pry it open.
The vent is now open. It leads to the lower deck.
The lower deck. We looking there?
This is a vent shaft that leads to the lower level.
We probably won't be able to use that quite yet. What about this thing
You
here?
need something to pry this open.
Oh, wow. We're finding all sorts of uses for this wrench.
The panel is open. You see vast quantities of dust and stripped insulation from wiring repairs made to the console in the past.
Stripped insulation. Let's say anything different
There's
if we
a
look.
pile of stripped insulation that fell out of the engineering access panel.
What if we were to tricorder that?
A prime source of raw material for TLDTH gas.
Perfect. Let's pick some of that up.
You grab a handful of insulation.
And we can walk out of here. What's down here?
Watch out,
Whoop.
sir. It looks like the Romulans have taken control of the lower deck.
So, Romulans are down there, and they don't seem all too happy to talk to us. This was the thing that can break down stuff, right?
This is a distillator used to isolate specific compounds from raw material.
Yeah. So why don't we try putting that wiring insulation in there?
You have distilled a quantity of polyberyl carbonate.
Alright, that's probably step one or something along that process. Go in here. What is all this?
An RDAC 1000. The last word in molecular replication, one of the most advanced pieces of scientific equipment ever constructed.
There was a earlier RDAC model in our very first mission.
It would take us several hours to get this machine working, Captain. I do not believe we will need it. The synthesis chamber should be able to give us what we need.
Alright. What about these?
A gas tank marked H2. A gas tank marked O2. This is a synthesizer used to combine and replicate chemicals and form new compounds. This particular model has twin gas feeds.
Oh, Spock's getting worse.
This is a synthesizer used...
That's the same thing we were looking at.
This is a storage cabinet.
Let's tricorder some things.
Nothing to report, Captain. Nothing to report, Captain. Nothing to report, Captain.
Okay. Tricorder is worthless, as we found. Oh, what is that?
A small field effect anti-gravity unit useful for moving things too heavy to lift and carry by muscle alone.
That is definitely something we want. We already found something that was too heavy to carry by muscle
You
alone.
take the anti-grav unit.
What if we try... This should... Actually, if we're combining this 1-to-1, this should give us hydrogen peroxide, but I think they mean to make water.
Nothing happens.
Interesting. Oh, you know what? I bet you, since we had to undo the feed lines over there, I bet you we have to do the feed
Nothing
lines
happens.
here.
Gas feed is on.
There we go. Now what happens?
Fascinating,
Whoop.
Captain. But it doesn't appear to get us any closer to our goal.
No, I didn't mean to wrench that. Let's use that.
The machine synthesizes a liter of pure water.
A clean drink of water, but I don't see its application in the context of our difficulties, Captain.
Oh, I think you might at some point soon, Spock. Let's go ahead and take that.
You take a 1-liter container of pure water.
We're gonna walk back to the other room and get that bottle of nitrogen. So now that we have this thing here, we can use this.
You attach the anti-grav unit to the gas tank. It can be moved freely.
Okay. Now we're
It sure
carrying our
beats hauling it
nitrogen.
around on our back, sir.
Oops. Come on, Kirk. All right. So I don't remember what compounds we need for the TLTH gas. So before I do anything, I'm going to lay down a
Save new
save.
game.
Just in case we screw this up. That was the virus sample. This, I think, was the polycarbonate. What happens if we do that?
The machine synthesizes 1 liter of TLTDH gas.
An unusual
Fantastic.
compound, Captain. It can induce laughter and feelings of exhilaration in some, much the way nitrous oxide affects humans.
It doesn't affect Vulcans, of course.
Actually, Doctor, both Romulans and Vulcans suffer its effects.
Why, that's just dandy. Vulcan laughing gas.
Please, Doctor, this is not a laughing matter.
And then, what was that other compound we read about in the database that inhibited growth?
You take a 1 liter container of TLTDH gas.
So we got to do some more synthesizing of some stuff.
Nothing happens.
Oops. God, we got to click up here.
Gas feed is off.
So we can use the anti-grav unit. Even though it's carrying the other thing, it'll let us use it on more than one thing.
You attach the anti-grav unit to the gas tank. It can be moved freely.
And let's put back... I think we need the nitrogen in place of the oxygen.
You install the gas tank to the synthesizer's feed lines.
And use the wrench to close the feed lines.
Gas feed is on.
Now, with nothing else in there, what does that make?
The machine synthesizes a liter of ammonia.
I hope you don't want me to swap the deck with that, Captain.
I think we can set this aside and not worry about it.
Well, no, Red Shirt, we don't want you to swab the deck with it, but that was exactly what I was hoping to make. The
You
ammonia,
take a 1 liter container of ammonia.
clean it and disinfect it. So if we were to put the Ouroboros virus in there, and then use it,
The machine synthesizes a quantity of colorless goo.
whoop, I guess we
You're
didn't do
wrong,
anything
Spock.
about that.
Look, the virus culture has been eliminated. That's why it's clear.
Oh.
It'd be more useful for me to see how the virus might grow in the presence of a limited quantity of ammonia gas.
Interesting. What happens if we... Oh, I guess we can't
There's nothing
see.
there.
Alright. Well, since we know ammonia does that to it, let's go back out here. Let's get another thing of the virus.
You take the Ouroboros virus culture.
And this thing back here was what we used to study things
It's
in the
what I was
presence of
afraid
other things.
Jim. I think Spock is getting worse.
We are almost there, McCoy. You are okay, buddy. And then we have... Oh, boy.
This blue-gray container holds 1 liter of ammonia.
Okay, the blue-gray one is the ammonia. And now what happens if we use this?
You take the Ouroboros virus culture.
No, 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 no. Not at all. I want to put that back. How about we use Spock on this? He's
Captain,
better.
I believe Dr. McCoy has the necessary skills to run that equipment.
Oh, okay.
Eureka, this is it, Jim. There's not much, but all I need to do is synthesize some more, and we're in business.
All right. Well then. We gotta synthesize some more. Let's put down a save here, just in case we
Save new game.
waste Spock before we get the cure. Okay. Got the save down. Let's take our virus cure
You
sample.
fail to obtain anything.
Kirk's in the way.
You retrieve the Ouroboros cure sample.
All right. Pull out the ammonia just to be, you know, a
Done.
nice guy who cleans up after himself. We'll head back in here. Put the cure sample in there. And then run the machine.
You take the hypo with Ouroboros toxin cure.
So the very first thing we're going to do with that is save Mr. Spock.
There, you're now cured.
All right.
Thank you, Doctor.
Finally, a human response.
Oh, McCoy, your space racism just never gets old. so now that we've cured Spock, we have to take care of the Romulans. I think, if I remember right.
This is a vent shaft that leads to the lower level.
Yeah. So what happens if we put the TLTDH...
I don't suppose you'd enjoy the psychological release of a few good belly laughs, Spock. We could open the canister right here, if you like.
I would strongly recommend against it, Doctor.
Yeah, I agree. But down the shaft.
With a hiss, the Romulan laughing gas billows down the vent. You hear the muffled sounds through the vent of hearty Romulan laughter, followed by the dull thud of bodies hitting the deck.
That was certainly some hearty Romulan belly laughs. And now I think with them knocked out, we can use this ladder. Okay. Look around.
These Romulans are totally out of it.
That's not something.
This door leads into another section of the base.
Jim, we've got to help these men before they die.
They say something
Jim,
different?
we've got to help these men before they die.
No. But we can absolutely use the cure.
The Romulans stir weakly, then begin to get up. They've all been cured.
They're severely dehydrated, but they'll live. We got to them in time.
Well, we just so happen to have... not that. The water here.
The Romulans drink thirstily and empty the container.
Take it easy now. You'll feel better in a few minutes. Good thing we had the water available, Jim.
We aren't barbarians, in spite of what some people think.
So we know there are more Romulans, and they have drinking all of our water. So, to be safe here, I'm going to go make a second batch of that. We got to unwrench these lines.
Gas feed is off.
Use the anti-grav on the nitrogen.
You attach the anti-grav unit to the gas tank. It can be moved freely.
Let's put our oxygen back in there.
You install the gas tank to the synthesizer's feed lines.
Oh. And use the wrench here.
Gas feed is on.
And then use the panel here.
The machine synthesizes a liter of pure water.
A clean drink of water, but I don't see its application in the context of our difficulties, Captain.
Well, Spock, you literally just saw what it can be used for, so...
You take a 1 liter...
I skipped through that dialogue there, but it was just saying what we had heard a few minutes ago. We got the 1 liter bottle of water. We have to use the ladder to go down. And I am going to take the moment here to save.
Save new game.
Oops. We have cured the Romulans. And let's head this way. Interesting. What is that?
An odd-looking device, almost like a 20th century torpedo fitted with an experimental gear.
My God, that's some kind of weapon.
Everyone on this project is an avowed pacifist, Doctor, myself included. We do not make weapons.
Some odd-looking equipment connected to the torpedo.
What does this stuff do? What's going on here?
We're conducting research into the origins of life in the universe. This is our equipment. We believe that, well, I guess you don't have the time. You can get the background in my doctoral thesis.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure we'll be able to read a doctoral thesis for some background knowledge. Absolutely, Dr. Marcus.
Dr. Carol Marcus, head of this station's research team.
How about someone giving us a hand?
Dr.
In a minute.
Anthony Cheever, Marcus's assistant. He has been bound by the Romulans.
Hey, does anyone in Starfleet know how to untie a knot?
I do. You just pull on the ropes until they're untied.
I don't care who does it, but could somebody get around to doing it on this star date?
Oh, hold your horses.
Fascinating. This device contains over 10 million forms of life, patterns I have never seen before.
We call this the cradle, Mr. Spock. One day I hope something wonderful would be produced here.
I think this ends up leading to the Genesis device from Star Trek 2. So why don't we use Kirk to untie the hostages?
Thank God it's you, Jim. I'm so glad you came.
Alright. Now we know this works on the Romulans.
The Romulan Preax stirs weakly, then begins to get up. He has been cured.
He's severely dehydrated, but he'll live.
Well, I am glad we got that second bottle of water.
The Romulan Preax drinks thirstily and empties the container.
Wow. The like 5 guys in the other room split 1 liter. He did it himself.
Take it easy now. You'll feel better in a few minutes. Good thing we had the water available, Jim.
We aren't barbarians, in spite of what some might think.
Let's look at him.
This Romulan commander is cautiously looking at you.
Maybe talk to him?
I have called off the Romulan attack on this station, Kirk. I believed your virus was some kind of deliberate attack, but your great honor and compassion have convinced me otherwise.
Okay.
You also conducted yourself in the most honorable fashion, Centurion Preax. You may return to Romulan space without Federation interference.
Sounds like a good option.
I assure you, the Federation would never undertake such a foul program. It was all an accident, right, Dr. Marcus?
That might be interesting and give her a chance to expand on that.
Save it for someone who's buying Preax. Leave Federation space immediately or we'll scatter your atoms across the quadrant.
That's a little... It's a little hostile.
You also conducted yourself in the most... I assure you, the Federation would never undertake such a foul program. It was all an accident, right, Dr. Marcus?
I'm gonna go with this one right here.
Absolutely. We've already destroyed all cultures and purged the data files. This will never happen again.
You are an honorable adversary, Kirk. Jolon true.
Okay, so we've earned his respect.
You are also a worthy opponent, Preax. May you live long and prosper.
Spock is a little bit off-put by our live long and prosper.
You'll never cease to amaze me, Jim.
Goodbye, Carol.
Goodbye, Jim.
Oh, well, she didn't really explain that was a mistake at all. Kind of thought she was going to riff off that.
Well, gentlemen, let's go home.
Message from Starfleet.
Let's get our grade. How'd we do?
On screen, Lieutenant.
We have read your report on the problems at Arc 7 and evaluate your performance at 100%. You and your crew received 4 commendation points.
Fantastic. Another 100% score.
A perfect mission, Jim. You are a model for all Starfleet.
I wonder if I'll see Cal again.
Well, if you don't, you can always drown your sorrow in some Romulan ale.
That's illegal, Bones.
Tell that to the Romulans, Jim. I found a whole case they brought on board the Arc 7.
It'll never replace Scotch, Captain.
Oh, Scotty, you alcoholic, you.
That it won't, Mr. Scott.
Okay. And with that, comes to an end. In our next episode, we'll be getting Harry Mudd. Nice little return of one of my favorite characters from TOS, so I hope you join me then. Have a good week, everybody.